Joining us now to discuss is Mark Paoletta. He's a senior fellow at the Center for Renewing America and co-editor of the book Created Equal, Clarence Thomas in his own words. Mark, good to have you with us, sir. Is Mark with us? I assume he is. Mr.
Hey, Vince. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, there he is. Hey, Mark. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, Mark, Kamala Harris says that she wants to give away 1 million forgivable loans to black entrepreneurs specifically. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it illegal for the federal government to dole out benefits on the basis of skin color?
Illegal and unconstitutional, Vince. It's just outrageous. So, yeah, it's, the Supreme Court has ruled that this is unconstitutional. And it's just offensive, right, to treat people simply on the basis of their skin color, right? This is what segregation was about back in the 50s and further back. But this is Kamala Harris. This is her game. She carves people up by race, and it's a desperate ploy.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, and as you said, Barack Obama scolded them, which is just hilarious to get back in line. But the fact of the matter is, as you know, as you pointed out, they don't like her policies on everything under the sun.
Yes.
From high prices, as Jason Miyares was talking about, to crime is out of control, a wide open border, right, where illegal aliens are bringing crime into this country, taking jobs from both black and white Americans. People don't like that. They're treating illegal aliens better, right, with government benefits than black Americans.
Yes.
And so it's those things that they're opposed to, and then they get shamed by Barack Obama. And then what does Kamala Harris do? She comes out with this ridiculous proposal, right? 1 million loans to black men, that are forgivable, right? They're forgivable loans, right? And then she wants to set them up in the weed industry, as you pointed out.
It's crazy. I mean, she wants to. The claim here is that she wants to legalize recreational marijuana, make weed legal everywhere. She's like, hey, so basically, this is the most patronizing garbage I could possibly imagine. What you have is our black voters, and every voter, they're saying, I'm tired of being abused by you. And she is the abusive stepmother coming in saying, hey, look what I got you. I got you a present. So rather than fix the problems that she created, she comes in and says, you know what you probably want is weed. I mean, how patronizing can you get?
It's not only that. She also says she's going to help set them up to be in the business of running weed shops. Right. That's the second part of that paragraph, is that I'm going to help you get in this business too of it. And today it's a great day to talk about this, Vince. And I'll just mention this briefly, which is Justice Clarence Thomas was confirmed on this day 33 years ago, and he brings an entirely different view, right? A colorblind society, and how both unconstitutional, but how pernicious this is, and how it harms the recipient, the so-called beneficiaries. And that's what she does. And she's so out of touch with black Americans, right? What she takes her signals from, right, is the progressive left, the black leadership. We've talked about this before. School choice. She's 100% school. That's what black Americans care about. That's what most American parents care about.
Clearly.
School choice. What does she do? She's against school choice. The NAACP is against school choice. 81% of black parents are for school choice. That's how you get black men to support you, white men to support you, is to support school choice. But she doesn't, because she's so locked into protecting who? Randy Weingarten, right? And the teachers union, who don't care about your children. They only care about the teachers and bad teachers.
And they think that they can just if we give away a little bit of money, or if we make weed legal, everything's going to be fine. And black Americans will fall in line. This is the presentation they're making. Also, I need to point out one of the many ironies to this, which are that she's saying she wants to make weed legal. Meanwhile, her administration right now is attempting to ban menthol cigarettes. They're trying to, as soon as the election concludes, they were going to do it before the election. They got worried that black voters would be angry at them. This is really how they calculated it. And they said, okay, well, fine. We'll ban menthols after the election. So legal weed, but no menthols? What is this?
Yeah, same thing there. Just a complete, as you said, it's just so patronizing. It's such a ploy to bribe black voters, who she's just doing historically bad with, right, to vote for her. The other thing in there, right, if you notice, is one of these, there's a number of states that do this, kind of blue states, but ban businesses being able to look at the criminal records of applicants for jobs, right? Now, if I'm a business owner, I'm going to want to know whether you're black or white, whether you have a criminal record. But that's what she has in here. Another proposal.
Well, that's a racist assumption, isn't it?
Yeah, whatever page this is long. This long proposal with a chock full of things like that, which are, in my view, dehumanizing, kind of patently offensive, and unconstitutional. Right? It's just it treats people on the basis of their skin, and as Justice Thomas also points out, right, the spoils system leads to further division. Right? It leads to people, the elites, as he says, picking winners and losers by race, and that's never a good thing.
What an amazing thing. Vote for me, and I won't tell your employer that you're a criminal. That's her pitch to black voters? This is amazing. So it's no wonder I'm watching, as I'm looking at the numbers, people going towards Trump. And I know a lot has been said about black men heading in Trump's direction, and that's true. That's a real phenomenon. But black women, despite the fact that they are overwhelmingly supporting Kamala as a category, so far as you can do that, this is still the lowest level of support that any Democrat candidate for president has had this century among black women. Black women are also moving towards Trump. So I think we're watching a very interesting phenomenon. I think we're also watching as Americans are done with the kind of identity politics that you're accurately describing here, Mark.
Yeah, I think it's also just a competence thing, right? Black and white Americans want a competent president. They watch her on the campaign trail, and she's not competent. She cannot talk about an issue. She doesn't know what to say. And so that's why they are not supporting it. That's why, as you said, I think you're exactly right, Vince. The trend lines here are really, really interesting. Hispanic voters, you mentioned that earlier today, right? I mean, Hispanic voters are moving away from the Democrats in droves, and it's because of this identity politics. It's because of it's because the Democrat Party is so locked in, right, to the hard left, the progressive left. Trans men playing in women's sports and girls' sports is offensive to everybody.
Yes.
Right. But that's what their policy is. And if you don't agree with it, you're cast out as some kind of bigot. And no, we just want to protect our girls. I had 3 girls play high school sports, 2 in college. No, I don't want a man. I watched these video clips of a male on a women's team smashing a volleyball into a player's head last night. I think it was on Megyn Kelly. It's just completely offensive. But that's where Kamala Harris is. She won't move off of those issues. She's throwing out these other issues to black men with this ridiculous program. But it just shows how desperate she is and how they're locked in the old style racial politics.
I've over the years, I feel like we've had a lot of conversations in this program where I often ask, where are the men? How come the men aren't standing up? In like the schools, for instance, you see a lot of the mothers standing up, but you wonder where are the dads and all of this. I think there's an awakening of sorts going on, and this cuts across all racial lines, of just men waking up to their duties, their responsibilities, to their families, to their loved ones, and to their communities. And it's manifesting itself in these numbers, Mark Paoletta, as men are saying no, and they're reasserting themselves in a country that desperately needs them there.
Yeah, and the Democrats aren't listening. In fact, you're seeing it with Obama, right? Here's a guy. And again, you may have seen on X, which is just the greatest platform now, the number of black men and black women who torched Obama for coming out and chastising black men and saying, because you don't support Kamala Harris, you must be a misogynist, you must be a sexist. I mean, absolutely offensive, right? And they don't feel the pain, right? The black elites, the white elites, they don't feel the pain of what America is going through with inflation or with high prices that are from this high inflation, and the crime that's out of control, all these sorts of things. The Martha Radich, right, interview with J.D. Vance. Oh, a handful of apartment complexes. Yes, that's right. You'll never have to live with that. But it's this blindness to what America is going through, this willful blindness, actually, of what Americans are struggling through right now. And you're seeing it like with this type of Kamala Harris proposal, where it's just a patronizing pitch to buy their vote with things that are just dehumanizing, right? I'm going to give you everyone has struggles, as you saw. You saw the Morgan Freeman interview once, where he's talking about with Don Lemon, right? Where everyone can get up and work. Everyone goes out and, the bus still runs, I think he says. You can go make your opportunity. You can get ahead. And to treat them all as victims, right? Going back to Justice Thomas's opinion in the Harvard case, this view treats all black people as victims and with no agency. And that's what's so offensive. And then, as you said, to pile on top of that, well, yeah, we're going to set you up in the weed industry. My priority is to make weed legal for you. My priority is to get you into the weed business. And by the way, I'm going to make sure employers don't know whether you have a criminal record or not, whether you're black or white. That's ridiculous.
How condescending is that? So you have a major presidential candidate saying that her appeal to black voters is to make them drug dealers. What the hell is that? I mean, it is honestly, it's some of the craziest things I've ever heard. And it was all in one idiotic proposal yesterday from Kamala Harris. She deserves to lose for this. I hope she does. Hey, Mark Paoletta, before I let you go, given that you really are in many ways single-handedly one of the great resources on Justice Clarence Thomas, given your friendship with him and your great advocacy for him through the years, the left has really made a huge project of attempting to destroy his reputation. They've, ever since he emerged on the scene. And do you think in the end they'll succeed? What'll happen with his reputation as history looks back upon it?
I think history will be very kind to Justice Thomas, and just to Justice Thomas. I think he'll be remembered as one of our greatest Americans. I think he's our greatest living American, a great justice. When you look at the opinions that he has helped forge through his leadership over the past 33 years, and this incredible American story, they go after him because he's over the target, because he is in the face of them and succeeding in an American way that makes them so angry. He's a threat to them. And so I think that, the thing is, Vince, the media, right, and sort of the bubble we live in attack him, but millions and millions and millions of Americans love him right now and think the world of him. When you look at his approval ratings, they've taken a little bit of a hit, but generally he's been the most popular justice on the court with the highest favorable ratings. So, but you know what, at the end of the day, Justice Thomas doesn't care about that. It doesn't make life fun sometimes, but he's doing the right thing. And I'll tell you one thing, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll serve for many, many more years, regardless of what happens in November.
No, I know he has thick skin, but it's important that America accurately, document his contributions. And and when that happens, it'll be because of your efforts to make sure that happens. Thank you very much. Mark Paoletta, good to talk to you again.